This JMeter tutorial is totally different because in this video I will handhold you and I will teach you performance testing in JMeter from start to end, assuming you are a very beginner and you just know how to turn on your laptop. It means there is no prerequisite to this video, so I just need your time to stick to this video till the end and I will teach you everything. This video will transform you into a JMeter expert and crack more interviews. I know this is a big statement, but I make sure that I live onto this statement. So without wasting any time, let's start with this video. If you are new to this channel, please consider subscribing and liking. It helps me, it motivates me to create more videos like this. Cool. So to start with our performance testing, the very first thing that you need to know is you need to have Java in your system, right? To do performance testing in your computer, you need to have Java installed. So first of all, to check if Java is installed in my computer or not, I will open my terminal, and in my terminal I will just type Java dash version. So when I type Java dash version, you can see in the system, I can see the Java version that I have installed in my system, which is the Java 22. Don't worry, I am currently doing it in MacBook. If you have a Windows laptop also, it's very similar. You just need to write Java dash version and you will get to know that what is the Java version in your system. So now when you make sure that Java is completely installed and it's added in the path variable, now we can start our actual performance testing. So first of all, for performance testing in this video, we are using JMeter. So we have to download JMeter. So to download JMeter, just type JMeter download. Alright, JMeter download. As soon as you write JMeter download, it will give you this link. You open this link and you come here. These are all your files that you can download, right? Cool. You can also check download release. Okay, so it's the same page. All right, so from here, whatever you want, you can download. So I will recommend you that you download this zip file. There are two files that you will be able to see. One is the tgz and one is the .zip file. So whether you are in Windows or whether you are in MacBook, I recommend you to download the zip file. So you click on this and it started downloading. For now, I will stop the downloading because I have already downloaded in my computer and I will show you in my downloads. So I go to my Finder and you can see, let me find my download somewhere over here. Where is that? I need to go to downloads first of all. Alright. Okay. So you can see this is my Apache JMeter which has been already downloaded. So I will click on this file, right? Under this file, you will get to see this many folders. First of all, it's very important for you to know that JMeter is not something that you install it in your computer or like an application, right? JMeter, it's just a command. It's just a framework. So what you can do, you can directly run, it's a program basically. So just like how you run a Java program, you just need a compiler, right? So for that also, JMeter is also a program which you can run. You don't need to install it anywhere, right? I will tell you how to make it run, but first of all, you will just see the folder, whatever there are there in the JMeter folders. Alright, backups, you don't need backups. So basically it will store all your JMX file if you have previously worked on. Okay, the backups stores your JMX file. Bin is the most important folder that you need to know. Under bin, if you are on Windows laptop, you will be able to see a file called jmeter.bat. So here you can see JMeter and .bat extension will be there. So once you double click on that, the JMeter will open directly. And in MacBook also, we will open this file. So once we double click on this JMeter, we will be able to open this JMeter file directly and we will be able to run it. All right, cool. So before running it, I want you to show all other folders which are there. So you can see docs. In docs you will have API, CSS and images that you don't need to touch, and it's not necessary for us also. The lib file, this is important because if you are diving deep into JMeter and if you want to understand the nitty-gritties how JMeter work behind the hood, what is the jar file and what are the coding. So basically I tell you that a JMeter is a Java program, right? I was telling you that JMeter was a program and you can run that program from anywhere. So you can see this is all our Java programs. These are jar files which have been there. So once you run the JMeter, this jar file will run and you will be able to see the interfaces, right? So only this few folders are important for us. So for now, let's do one thing. Let's start running our JMeter. So I will not double click and run like an expert probably. I will do one thing. I will use my terminal to run my JMeter. Alright, I will just open that file. Don't worry. So where was my JMeter installed? My JMeter was installed in download. So I will go to the folder downloads. Okay, you can also go to the file manager and you can double click and open it. I prefer opening it with terminal so that it gives me a better idea, and I also recommend you that you learn this way because it will help you to learn the commands as well, right? So I go to downloads and I will what do I need to open? I need to open JMeter. So Apache APA, and then I hit tab. You can see the recommendation will come. I am now inside Apache JMeter and now what do I need to open? Bin, right? So inside bin, if you remember, inside bin there was my file called jmeter.bat. So I need to open that. So I'll just write sh spacebar jmeter.sh. This will open my JMeter in my laptop. So I hit enter. Alright, this code is running and you can see in your screen the JMeter has been now correctly opened. Let me full screen it. So before moving ahead, before writing our test cases, before doing anything, I just want you to make sure that everything whichever is there in your screen, you understand everything, right? Cool. So first of all, we'll go one by one. So as soon as you open your JMeter, you will see this screen. So first is here test plan. So you can name your test plan probably, right? So in this video, what we are going to do today, we are going to use an dummy API and we are going to hit that API and do our performance testing in that API. I already have that API with me currently. I will show you. So this is the API that weatherapi.com. This is a free API everyone can access for practice. I will drop the link in the comment so that you can get this API as well. So for now, I have already imported this API in Postman. Alright, so just like this, you will also see this API in your company and you have to do the performance testing for this API. If you don't know yet how to use Postman and how to import an API to Postman, I have another video for Postman which is completely dedicated where I teach Postman in detail. But for now, let's focus on this API itself. So it's a weather API, okay, and it gives me what input does it take? It takes the city, that which city I am there, and it gives me the weather data of that city. So as soon as I hit send, you can see it gives me the London, and in London whatever latitude, longitude and whatever data is there, it's not really necessary for us, but you just see the data with wind speed in degrees, dir, pressure, I don't know, some technical terms are there which it gives. All right, so I need to see in how much time the API is giving us the response. Okay, if you don't know the terminologies as well, I will teach you everything one by one slowly. Okay, just be patient. Cool. So let's first of all name our API as weather API. So I'm gonna do testing on this weather API. Comments, it's a optional field, whether you want or not, it's up to you. Okay, so right now in this screen only name is important, and this all things we are going to learn once we set up our test plan. So just ignore this for now. Okay, Here you can see test plan. This will be converted to weather API because now we have named it to weather API. As soon as we refresh, it will be converted. So don't worry about that. Now coming back to this icons. What are these icons and what does it mean? So I'm going to teach you everything bit by bit. So first of all, the important thing is this play button, green color play button. This is a start button. So as soon as you set up your test plan, right, you need to run the test plan. So this button will help you to run the test plan. There is a stop button. This will be activated once the test plan is running. So this is used to stop the test plan. This is a clear button. So what we need to do, so once we run the test plan, there will be certain logs, right? So you want to clear the logs and rerun the test. So this button is for clearing the logs, and this is clear all. So if you want to clear just one window, you use this clear, and if you want to clear completely, you use clear all. This 6 icons are important over here. And after that, this open is important because if you have any JMX file already there, you can just import it over here and you can just share it across. And this is a save button. Okay, all right, only this much is important from the top icon for now. Cool. Let's start. Let's do our test plan. Let's create a test plan. So how do we create? You just right click on your test plan or weather API. Now you can see this weather API, it is coming, it's refreshed. You right click, you click on add. So now as soon as you click on add, there are multiple things that are coming. So all of these things are important. So we will go one by one and we will set up everything, and I will tell you what is the importance and why it is used and how you can modify it. All right. So without thinking anything, you first of all, you need to add a thread group. All right. So let's add a thread group. Cool. So now as we have added our thread group, I will first of all tell you what are there and what actually thread is. So let's come back to and let's have a whiteboard first of all. In whiteboard, I can explain you first of all what is threads to have a better understanding so that you can, do a better performance testing. So let's take a pen first of all. All right. Cool. So what is a thread? Imagine it's selected. Yeah. So imagine you have a server. Okay. A server is typically, probably you can understand it as a database. Okay. It's just a database server, or let's name it as database. Now tools, draw marker. Okay. So now you have a API over here. This is your API which you have created. Okay. Now what API do? API will go to the server or will go to the database and it will fetch the data, and then this server will respond back to our API, and then again in API will respond back to the client, right? This is the entire architecture, how it works. So we have a client over here. This is our client. Now what is client? Client is basically you. This is you are using, this is user basically, okay, who is doing the performance testing. So what user will do, user will basically tell the API, that I need some data. Okay, I need some data. Now what API will do? API will do certain calculations, some business logic is there in the API, and then API will go to the database and search for data. For example, I have asked API that give me a user whose ID is 509. So what will happen? This I have requested an ID. Now API does certain calculation inside this, and now it request for ID is equal to 509 to the database. Now what database will do? Database will do certain task over here and search for the ID of 509. 9, and it will give me the details. Probably it will give me a name. So let's say the name is Aakash. Okay, it has given me the name that with ID 509, the name associated with this ID is Aakash. Okay, and it has given me Aakash for now. Now try to understand what are the events that has take place and what events will take certain time. Okay, let me change the color, some green probably. Okay, so now let's try to understand what are the events that take place. The first event that took place is when you were requesting the API for an ID. So this is my event number 1. What was the second event that take place? API does certain calculation inside it. So that is event number 2. What was the third event? Now API will request this ID to the database. This is my event number 3. So what event is referring to here? Event is referring as anything which is taking certain time. So when I'm requesting an ID to API, it is taking certain time. When API is requesting to the data, that is taking certain time. When API is doing some internal calculation, that is also taking certain time. So we have 3 events in place. Now event number 4, the database will also take some time to search inside it, right? And event number 5, when the database will respond, and event number 6 will come when it gives back to the client. So when you see every event takes certain time, so what is the total time that my API took to give me the response? It is E1 plus E2 plus E3 plus E4 plus E5 plus E6. It's the total time, because since you are a user, you don't know what is happening inside. You just know that I've requested something and I will get a response. So I will just calculate a time for that. So what will be that time? That time is actually E1 plus E2 plus E3 plus E4 plus E5 plus E6. Alright. Remember this event E1, E2, E3, E4, E5 and E6, because later when we will understand the terminologies, this event will be very helpful for you to understand all the terminologies. So now if someone asks me that when you have done performance testing and you have get an API response in, let's say, 274 milliseconds, now you know that this 274 millisecond is the sum total of all the events, right? You can also find out that which event took how many time. There is a term called network latency that tells us about E3 and E5. So that we will come later, but for now you just understand it's just the sum total, as simple as that, right? So these were the events that I have explained you right now. Now let's talk about threads that we were initially talking. Let's take some other color, red color probably. So when we talk about threads are just a single unit. When we say single unit, what do we mean? It means single unit, or you can say single user. So now can you see how many user do we have? If currently we have only user 1. Only one client was there, client 1. But imagine API is not just used by only one user. API can be used by multiple users, and that is why we are doing the performance testing, because we need to make sure that multiple users load can be handled. So client 1, client 2 can also hit the API, client 3 can also hit the API, client 4 can also hit the API, client 5 can also hit the API. Similarly, there can be 1000, 1 lakh, 1 crore depending upon what your API does. I remember a typical example from Hotstar where there are 10 crores or 13 crores of population watching that video, watching a live cricket match. It means there are 13 crore hits in that API, and we need to performance test this API for that much of hits, right? Cool. So what are the threads? Thread is just the number of user. For now you can take it like that. So number of users that are hitting the API. So currently let's take an example of 5 user only. So 5 user are hitting the API. Now let's come back to our JMeter screen. Okay, so now you can see number of thread. Now I hope this first line will be clear, number of threads. So how many threads do we have? 5. It means we are doing the performance testing on 5 users. Let's see what happens when 5 users hit the API. The second term is ramp up period, which is in seconds. Now what is ramp up period? Now imagine these 5 users are hitting your API. Do you think all the 5 users will hit the API just at once? Like everyone will hit the enter button at once? No, right? There will be a certain gap. Let's say 2 users hit the enter button first, then 2 user will hit, then 1 user will hit. So similarly, there is a delay between the hits, right? They are not simultaneous, like everyone hit the enter button at once. There will be a delay between the users which are hitting the period, and this is the exact delay. So ramp up period is the delay basically. So for example, if 5 users are there, how much delay do you want between the user? For example, 1 second. So after every 1 second a new user get added. So first for 1 user was hitting, after 1 second 2 user, after 1 second 3 user, after 3 seconds 4 users. So just like that, after 4 seconds all the 5 users are active now and everyone will start hitting. So there's a gradual increase in load. So whenever your manager or someone asks you that you need to test for gradual increase in load, remember ramp up period is your go-to thing. Okay, third point, loop count. What is loop count? Loop count will basically tell you that how many times one user need to hit the API. So for example, right now what we had 5 users. So every user will hit the enter once and it will get the API response, right? But imagine if all the users are hitting continuously, like C1, our client one, hit the enter, get the result, again hit the enter, again get the result, again hit the enter, again get the result, like that. C2 also, C3, C4, everyone hitting the enter, getting the result, hitting the enter and getting the result. So they're hitting multiple times, and this is your loop count. It says how many times a user want to hit. So if I make it as 2, it means one user will hit the API 2 times. So how many users do we have? We have 5 users. So how many times the API will get the hit? It will get 10 times. If you make it infinite, it means it will keep on hitting until we stop it from the stop button manually. Okay, you can do this, but right now since we are using a free API, I'm not doing an infinite hit because they will block me if I give an infinite hit. If you want to, put some server down, you can use this infinite and you can make their server down if they are not capable of handling that load. You can try this infinite hit on google.com probably, right? For now we just give it 2 so that we take care about them also. We don't need this right now. Delay thread creation until needed, specify thread lifetime. You can, these are more advanced concept, but for now let's skip it and let's keep it for later. Okay, and let's move ahead. Okay, so we have created a thread group. Now we need to create our actual HTTP request. All right, so I go to add. So what do you need to, what do you need to do? You right click on thread group, you go to add and you go to sampler, and under sampler you will see this HTTP request. Now we have started doing the actual thing, and now we have started configuring our API in this JMeter. So I clicked new and HTTP request. A screen like this will appear. It's very simple, not complicated. You just need to read and understand. That's it. Name HTTP request. You don't need to change it. If you want, you can change it. Comments no needed. Protocol. So depending on your API, if it is HTTP or HTTPS, you can set the protocol. So right now, since we are using our Postman, this API, what do we have? We have HTTPS. All right. I will recommend you to import the API in Postman before starting. So it will help you. HTTPS. Okay. Server name or IP address. What is the server name? This entire thing is our server name. Okay. This one. HTTPS we have already added. Server name is basically the home path of that particular API. So this is my home path / I don't need. Now the path is basically the next. What is the next path? The subpath. So you can see this is my subpath. So it's basically this entire is my subpath. What I can do, I can just copy and I can just paste it over here. All right. So right now, if you see, you will see one thing. You will see that the authorization token is currently in the header itself, right? But in your case, the authorization token might not be in the header. Okay, it may be using an X API key, which may be there in the here. You need to add X API key, right? Or you might need to add certain parameters like this, and you might need to, parameterize it as well, because for example, if I give my key like this and if I hit, what will happen basically? If I give my key like this and if I parameterize, the problem is this key is visible, right, to the public, and I don't want that. I want that this key should be saved in an Excel file, and from that Excel file that key should be picked up. I will teach you that also. That is something little advanced, but for now, to understand the basic flow of performance testing, I will keep the key in the header itself. Okay, later on, after some time, once we have learned this, at the end I will show you how to parameterize this as well. All right. Third thing you need to take care about is the get request, post request, whatever request type is yours. So what do we have? We have a get request. All right, and that's it. Simple, done. You have already set up your API, right? But now when you run it, you will be able to run it, no doubt. The problem will be you will not be able to see the logs, you will not be able to see the performance metrics. So to see those logs, to see those performance metrics and everything, we need to add more things. I go to thread group, I right click on thread group, I click on add. Now I need to add other things as well. Okay, so you can see here, 1 second. Okay, cool. So what do? I go to thread group, add, and I click on listener. Let's not talk about all of this for now. First of all, let's directly jump to listener, because this is the important part which will show you logs and which will show you the performance metrics. Listener is basically who will listen to your logs and who will listen to your performance metrics. Okay, I click on listener, and the first important thing which you need to add is the result tree. So when you add view result tree, a screen like this will appear. So what result tree does? Result tree will show you the logs, that what request you are sending and what response you are getting back from the API. It will not show you the timing right now. It will just show you the request and response, so that you can make sure that the response which you are getting is the correct response or not, or you are not getting like some dummy, or it is the API is not failing. Because in Postman over here, when we click send, I can see this response, right? So when I can see this response and I can see the status code is 200, it means my API has succeeded. It has not failed. So in JMeter also, how do I make sure that my API is succeeded and it is not failed? For that, I have added a view result tree. Now what do? I just test it first of all without moving ahead. Let's test it. So I click on play button, right? So as soon as I hit on play button, nothing happened, I guess. Let me check what is the issue. Okay, it tells me that you should save your test plan before running it. So let's save it. Okay, what do I name it? Let's probably name it as weather API.jmx, and I want to save it over here itself. Okay, in bin. I'm saving it in bin. Okay, I have saved it. Now let's play again. Okay, now you can see it played and it stopped automatically. Why did it stop automatically? Because the thread group, I told that it was not infinite. I only want 10 hits, 5 into 2, 10 hits. So it has stopped automatically. If it was infinite, I need to stop it manually. Now go to result tree and now let's see the logs. Alright, you can see all the things are in green color. It means everything has succeeded. Let me click on the first request. If you click on the first request, you will see the request over here and you will see the response over here. So you see, these are the sampler result. What was the request we sent? We sent this request. What was the response did we get? We get this name, London City, Greater London and everything, right? Just like how we had it in Postman. Alright, cool. So you can see all the requests, all the response are successful. It means we have successfully actually set up the API in JMeter. Now what we need to do next? We just need to set up the listeners which will listen to my performance metrics and how to analyze them. Alright, cool. So let's set up some listeners and just to test, let me show you this green can turn into red also if your request is not correct. So what do? I go to HTTP request and let's do one thing. In this request, I just remove O. So you will encounter an error just to test. Let's play again. Okay, it still succeeded. Probably they are accepting this no as well. Let's change something else. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's change our API key. It will definitely fail when we change our API key. It will throw me a 403 error. So I should remove this 9 and again hit it. Before hitting, let me just clear. Okay, I've cleared the logs and let's hit again. Okay, now you can see the requests are failing. And what is the key? Message API key is invalid. So this is how you can debug also in JMeter. So view result tree is important for debugging as well. So let's get back here and let's correct it. Okay, I've corrected it. Cool. And let's clear it with this clear button. Okay, now let's add some listeners. Add listener. So there are so many listeners right now present over here, but not everything is very important. Few of them are important and very important to analyze. I will tell you how to analyze the results as well. Okay, so first of all, let's add a aggregate report. Aggregate report is important. So as soon as you click on aggregate report, it has added this. Don't worry about the terminologies right now. I'm going to explain you each and everything one by one. Okay, let's add some more listeners. Aggregate report we have added. We can add some more listeners. Add listeners. Add listeners. We can add a summary report as well. Summary report has some extra fields which aggregate report doesn't have, so it will give me some extra additional information. Okay, let's add one more listener. Probably it's up to you how many listener in how many detailed report you want. According to that you can add your listener. Okay, probably JSR 223, this will not help. Response time graph, you can see the graph as well if you want. So let's add response time graph. Okay, display graph, no values to graph currently. Okay, so once we add value, then you will see. Okay, here, right. So right now we don't have anything. To understand all of this, first let's do a dry run and I will tell you what each and every term here means. So let's run it. Click play. I come to view result tree. It already played and we get a successful response. Right? Okay. Let's come to our first listener, which is the aggregate report. Okay. We will go little bit slow over here. I want your attention little bit so that you understand it very clearly, and it's really the most important part of this video. All right. Okay. So the first thing is samples, which says how many sample do we have? We have total 10 sample. What does it mean? Sample mean, if you remember, when we go to our thread group, how many thread do we have? We had 5 threads. And how many times one thread will hit the API from our this thing? 2 times. So total how many hits the API will get? 10. 5 multiplied by 2, which is 10 hits the API will get. So that's why when you come here, you see that there are 10 hits on the API. It means there are 10 samples for which it has been tested, right? The next is average, which says 189. So it's basically the average time taken by the API to give back the response. So when I say average, always remember all of this time, whatever there you can see, everything is in milliseconds. Don't get confused. This is not seconds. This everything is milliseconds. So if you want to convert it in seconds, you have to divide it by 1000. So when we say we have 189 millisecond time taken, it means 0.189 second, right? So what is the average time this API has given me the response? It's 0.189 second or 189 milliseconds. The standard you can tell it in milliseconds as well. So now let's come back here and let's talk about events once again. Okay, so here if you remember, we have taken a random example to 74 milliseconds, but now this is not 274 milliseconds. Now we have got an exact result. What is the exact result? 189 milliseconds. So now you have understood what is the average time. Average time means it is the sum total of all the events from hitting your API to getting back the response. The total API took 189 milliseconds, right? Next, median time. It's a mathematical term. Median time basically signifies the median of a time taken. If you are little bit familiar with statistics, you can understand it. Median is basically the median of some certain data set. Okay, cool. Next is the 90% line and 95% line and 99% line. Okay, one by one, you just need to understand what this percentage line means. Percentage means the 90% of the time what the request has taken the time. For example, let me be a little bit more clear. Let's have a new screen over here. So when I say 90% of line, okay, 90% line, it means out of 100 requests, 90 requests have taken how much time? 90 requests have taken how much time, right? So since how many sample do we had? We had only 10 sample. So out of 10 sample, 9 sample has taken how much time? So now you can see 9 sample have taken 96 millisecond of time. So our average was how much? Our average was 184 milliseconds, but 90% out of 10, 9 requests have taken how much? 40, where is it? 96 milliseconds. All right. So it means that one request was there which has taken a lot of time, due to which the average has gone up, right? Similarly, we have 99% line, 99% line, and we have 95% line. So it will tell you 99% the request has taken how much time, and it will tell you the 95% the request has taken how much time. Right now, since we have only just 10 requests, 99% and 95% is not a valid metric for us to signify something, right? Because out of 10, 99% is 9.9, which doesn't really make sense. If you had, for example, 1 lakh or probably 1 crore, many samples, in this case 99% of this time will make some sense, and 95% of the time will also make some sense, right? Cool. So now you have understood 99% line, 90% line, 95% line, and 99% line. All the three you have understood. The next is minimum. So with the word you can understand minimum is the minimum time taken, it's 81 milliseconds. The next is maximum, which is 463 millisecond. So there is one request which has taken 463 milliseconds. This is the maximum time. And from here also we might have understood, if you might have used a little bit of common sense, you must have understood that if average time was 184 millisecond and out of 10, 9 requests are taking 96 millisecond, that means one request is there which is taking too much of time, due to which the average has gone up. And you can see this is our maximum. The maximum has taken 463 milliseconds, right? The next is error rate. What does error rate tells us about? Error rate will tell me that how much is the error. Right now if you go to view result tree, you can see all the request has succeeded, but let's say we didn't have any 10 requests, we have 1 lakh request. So in 1 lakh request there will be a request that will be failing due to a bottleneck or due to something. The request will be failing. So this aggregate report and this error rate, this will tell us how many request has failed, right? The next part is throughput. Throughput is a very interesting metric and you should know this. Throughput, everyone will ask you throughput. So if you are a performance tester, everyone will tell you what is the throughput of your API. So to understand that, you need to understand throughput in detail a little bit. And it's very simple, don't worry. For example, you have this server or you have this database and you had this API, okay? Throughput is how many requests your API can serve. How many requests your API can serve in a second. Okay, so when you come here, you see what is our throughput. It is 8.7 per second. It means in API we can have five clients and each client is hitting 10 times, or let's say each client is hitting 100 times. So there are 500 hits on this API. Okay, there are 500 hits on this API. It means 500 users are asking for a response. But what is the capability of our API? Our API can only serve to 8 users. It can only serve to 8, or to be detailed, 8.7 users. If you see our matrix, it can serve only 8.7 users in 1 second. So it can only serve 8.7 users in 1 second. So if you have 500 requests which is hitting the API, it will go in queue and it will execute one by one. So in every 1 second it will clear 8 users. It will clear 8 users, 8 requests basically, right? This is what entire throughput means in short. Cool. All right. Next, we shall talk about more. The next part is received and sent. It's very simple. Received is how much data has been transferred, how much data has been received, and how much data has been sent. In sent, you will see how much data you have sent, and received, how much data you have received. So to quantify data, we have kilobytes, megabytes, gigabytes, right? So if you see our request is very simple. That means the sent data is very less, 1.5 KB. But the receive request is a little bit more, a bigger size. So it's 13.15 KB. And that's it. That's enough for you to understand this aggregate report. Let's go to summary report now. Cool. So in summary report, most of the things will be same. 1 or 2 extra thing you might be able to see. Samples, we have already understood what samples are. Average, we have already understood what average is. Minimum, we have understood. Maximum, we have understood. Standard deviation. Standard deviation basically is an important metric which will help you to understand that from median, what is the deviation. So for example, if you remember how much our median was something 89 milliseconds, right? 89 millisecond. So let's say if we have 1000 records, and let me help you visualize this. One request is taking, let's say, 80 millisecond. Okay, some request is taking 77 millisecond, some is taking 88 millisecond. It's a graph like this. Okay, it's a graph like this. Some request is taking, let's say, 90 millisecond, some is taking again 76, some is taking 82, but one is taking, let's say, 112, one is taking, let's say, 135, one is taking, let's say, 650 probably. So if you just join all of this line, what will happen? You will see that most of your requests were taking either 80 or somewhere close to 80. This was your median. Okay, the average was somewhere close to 80, but you can see few requests has deviated a large amount, which is a bigger amount. You can see this is called a standard deviation. It tells you what is the randomness in your sample set. So if your standard deviation is high, it's not a good thing. Why it's not a good thing? Because it will tell you that some request the API is able to serve in 82 millisecond, but one request it's taking 135 millisecond, some request it's taking 50 millisecond. It's very random. So you need to have a less standard deviation so that you can have a better API, right? This is what standard deviation actually means. Error rate we have understood, throughput we have understood, received, memory we have understood, sent we have understood. Average is what is the average data transfer. It's basically your average between the received and the sent, right? All right, cool. We go to response time graph, display graph. Right now we are not able to see the graph. It says not enough data because since we are using a public API and we have only how many samples? We have only 10 samples. You see, we have only 10 samples, so it's very difficult for them to plot a graph in just 10 samples. So basically this was all the basic things that you need to understand how to do a performance testing, right? And how to set up your API and how to get the results from an API. One thing that I might want to tell you, that if you are a performance tester, and sometimes if you can see our API has some headers as well, which you can see, which is the content type. So this headers also need to be added. So how do you add this header? You go here, you go to the JMeter, you come here in the HTTP request. Okay, you right click on thread group, add, and you go to sampler. You need to find headers, config element. You see HTTP header manager. So once you click on HTTP header manager, you will be able to add headers as well. Just click on add. You come here and you can add your headers. Let's say content type. Okay, you paste content type over here. Come here, you take application/JSON, you place application/JSON over here, and you just add it, and simple, it's done. So your header will be added. You can drag this to the top, and you can play this again, and then you will be able to see that your header is currently added and it's successful. All right, so this was all about this video. I hope you must have learned something from this. If yes, I will recommend you to please drop a comment. It will help me to know that you have reached the video this far and you have understood. You can consider subscribing as well if you are new to this channel. We create more videos like this, more videos of OOPS concept, Selenium, and everything which you need to become a better in SDET. Everything you will get in this channel. All right, thank you for sticking to this video, and I will take a goodbye now. Until then, bye bye, take care.